See you laid out on the floor, try to duck and roll, hit and miss, now you counting stars. Should've practiced more, should've hit the mask, get out there more, saying that you're the best. You gotta show me, son, actions over words, baby boy, is you real or what? Talking way too much, world combat sports, talking way too much, world combat sports, talking way too much, world combat sports.
Yo, shout out to the hottest chat in the MF game, man. A-Side official. No negotiations needed. Yeah, this is part 1 or 2, man. I'm gonna basically highlight the fight card last night when people get out of church, because I want to hear some people feedback. I know it's not that many people that's going to be tuned in early morning, but I want to continue the part 2 of what I was talking about. That's why I kind of stopped the video. I was doing a reaction to Tay Jones' video on how he was breaking down the entire debacle on the ducking narrative that was, being spread out here and crocheted in the media. That, the 1.7, 1.7. You look at these numbers, you would think some of these individuals, they were absolutely in, in-house detention when they was in school for skipping class, especially when it came to math. Because first, 14 pounds for Crawford was bad. And then when they heard the 1.7, that's all you heard was human beings talking about 1.7, 1.7. But all the internal details is what they was missing. But the wild part about it is that they didn't care to know about the intricate details. All they want to do is, this is the exact mentality, y'all. The exact mentality is, to me, 1.7 is the most money you ever made. To me, that's a lot of money. To me, you should have took it because you never headlined a card in Georgia. To me, I thought it was a bad decision that he turned that down. He's never going to get that again. Hey, that's why you have the team and you have those individuals on the outside looking in. And we all know the lack of information and restrictions of collecting data from the outside proposed. You know how that goes. But it's bad, y'all. It's bad when it comes to boxing, because we are now finding out, which was detailed yesterday, as much as I want to go back through it just a little bit, snippets. We all understand that Tay had mentioned that the fight was never going to happen. And the reason why he mentioned the fight was never going to happen because of the 20 grand that was non-refundable that had to be sent to the sanctioning body to get the ball rolling. That was such a small crumb in all of it, but yet a full entree, yo. That 20,000 was very, very important, because we're talking about a mandatory. We're talking about a timely manner. We're speaking about, if the time expires, there's no more options to negotiate with an opponent that's potentially your unification. Now you have to deal strictly with the mandatory. And Eddie Hearn's been in the game long enough to understand how that process works, right? But there's a pattern. Unfortunately, there's a pattern. There's people out here who are habitual liars. They're willing to jump on the trolley of narratives, downhill, no brakes. Point blank. That's just the way I see it. Downhill, no brakes. It's no driver. It's just they was pushing the trolley. Hey, y'all need help with that trolley? Okay, let me help you out. And they get behind it. They push it. Hey, we almost at the top. Everybody jump in. They start going down here. Who driving this thing? That's YouTube, y'all. That's media. There's a stark reality to false information that is passed. And when people hear you talk about it, then they want to open their mouth and say, oh, he don't know what he's talking about. But this is the main reason why I did the reaction to the video, because I felt there was a lot of fine details that he mentioned that was absolutely correct. I want to get back to the audio. And this is where I stopped off. I dropped a link in there for Pac-Man Tay Jones live stream, which description says, y'all telling me Boots moving up to 154 didn't look funny the day of Brian Norman Jr. fight. Norman Jr. stops by.
But like, I don't have no problem with no Boots fan. I don't got no problem with nobody feeling none of that shit, right? I don't have no problem with nobody. But you try to discredit a win when this guy has had multiple guys come up from 140 to fight.
Okay, he's talking about the naysayers of Brian Norman Jr. discrediting his knockout. I mean, his brutal knockout of Jen Sasaki. If you don't know what it is, this right here is what is etched. This is etched, y'all. This is etched in the mind of those haters that were betting. I heard it. That was betting on Jen Sasaki, the Japanese, the next Inoue. You know what I'm saying? Goku. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I guess he gave them the Goku when he pulled up on Norman over there at the ring. I mean, they's like, oh, I like this guy. I like his jacket. Oh, cool jacket. He remind me if he was an anime character. Oh, wow. You know? But let's get back and let's stay on task.
You got a guy like Karen, and nobody, nobody want to keep it a buck on the Karen fights. Nobody want to keep it a buck on the Karen fights. He didn't look good, but guess who did keep it real? A couple fighters, a couple trainers I know. Even Cornflakes said, I'm gonna lie, he didn't look good either in the second fight nor the first fight. But the people close to him that's doing all this media and shit, they didn't ask none of that shit. They didn't give a fuck about that. That's something I would have been like, bro, what's good with you? What's going on? They didn't do that. But they said he ain't discredited what Brian Norman's doing or has done. Now, we don't make the rankings. We don't make the rankings. The fans don't make the rankings. The guys in Philly or whoever. Of course he did it. Of course he did it. Not once, but twice. Not once, not one time, but two times. You know what I'm saying? So when we try to discredit people, come on, don't do that, man. Come on. What I do know is this. Norman Senior Jr. has always been respectful. Even in the interviews, people talking shit to him, them, or in the chat talking crazy. And I understand it's the internet. People got a free word to say whatever they want to say or whatever the case may be. But if that make you feel more of a man or a woman, then that's just you. But if I can't speak my truth, you don't got to validate my truth. Because I'm going to speak my truth. I don't need nobody to validate it. But what you can't do is tell me, oh, you hating on Boots. No, I'm not hating on Boots at all. Again, where was these Philly fans, these same media members, where were they at before Boots started making the noise he was making? Where was they then?
Where were you? Where were you? We want to know, where were you at when he wasn't making noise? We want to know, where were you? Where were they at? Where were they at, y'all? When he was busy trying to get that fight, when he was going through the wild promotion with Cameron Duncan passed. Well, nobody talking about Jaron Ennis. When I did a FICO score reading, him. Nobody else did a FICO on Boots. I mean, come on, man. They was busy up here trying to give him the Errol Spence ghost. They was trying to put that spirit in Jaron Ennis and say, he's the next. He's the next. That's all they was doing. And then he went the distance with Karen. Boy, them fans was up here. I don't know, man. He might be overhyped. I don't know, man. Combat was right, man. His FICO is a 630. His FICO is a 591. I don't know. When he went the distance with Karen and he looked bad, man, come on, y'all. Boy, them Boots fans was running to the border. They was running back to that Texas border and say, EJ, we apologize. We apologize, sir, for abandoning you in your most tiresome time. We apologize. We therefore surrender. He's not what we thought. That was Errol Spence fans, yo. Errol Spence fans ran back to the Texas border, man.
Because I promise you, they wasn't doing more videos than me about Boots, and they was in his own city. You know? So when we talk about these guys, man, just keep it 1,000. Norman last three fights, 3-0 with 3 knockouts. 3-0 with 3 knockouts. All those guys are 47 pounders. Now, just Jen Sasaki did come up from 140, but it wasn't initially jump. I think he had a couple fights. He missed weight in Japan or something shit like that. He missed weight, and he said it was time to come up to 147. And he was ranked higher than Brian Norman, in the ring and on the ring and box rep. And Brian Norman was just the champion. That's the only reason why Jen Sasaki wasn't ranked higher than Brian Norman in the WBO rankings, because Brian Norman is the champion.
How does that work exactly? I speak about this often. How does that work? Who is responsible for criteria implementation? Who's drafting up these spreadsheets? That is a good question. You know what I'm saying? What is the voting criteria? Or is there even a voting criteria to place these fighters in the ranking systems? You know, he made a good point about, Norman fighting fighters who are already 147 pounders, vice Jaron Ennis bringing them up. And I know there was massive criticism on other fighters that was supposedly bringing up lighter weight classes like Lamont Roach to fight Gervonta Davis, right? So, when you get this wave of people that's feeling some type of way, disgruntled about what Tank was doing, but yet when Boots do it, they're not really paying attention because they're busy trying to be creative with these angles on how they're going to push these agendas towards, now a potential other rival. See, a lot of this I'm going to talk about after this. I don't want to really take too much time, but I am going to make some solid points because I did a live stream when Brian Norman had fought Centillion. And I said, Centillion fight, you take that fight and you ask somebody, which one would they like to watch? The Centillion fight with Norman, or would they like to watch Jaron Ennis fight with Karen? That fight, literally, that one single fight on Norman's record is way more entertaining and exciting than Boots' entire resume. That is crazy. Than his entire resume, including Ramon Villa. Because we're not talking about having a statue on wheels and then you tied up at the waist, and every time you go back, the statue come forward. You go back again, the statue come forward, and then you land some shots. Okay, you pivot out, the statue pivot out because y'all tied together at the waist. Centillion actually came to fight. Went to that man's backyard. I put that out there. Centillion fight is more entertaining than anybody on Boots' resume. Boom. He goes up there and he has another fight. Derek Cuevas fight. I said those two fights is more entertaining than any fight Jaron Ennis has on his resume. Even the Avanesian fight when it came up. The Avanesian fight, it just showed him in a poor light. But I got to get back to this video. We'll get back to it.
You know what I'm saying? So it ain't like I'm saying anything wrong, like I'm capping. Like I said before. Now look, I did say what I said on Champ Shot show or whatever like that, but whatever happens in the gym stays in the gym. I could talk shit. They've been talking shit the whole time. Right? They've been talking shit the whole time. But it's not like I haven't been saying this. I've always said they ain't been telling the truth about all the sparring sessions. I've always said, man, when somebody gonna step up and say what really happened at the sparring session, when y'all gonna give Brian Norman his just due? Now I ain't saying he a fucking world beater at that time that they was sparring or nothing of the nature. But what you're not finna do is sit here and tell me the same way every time they spar. Nah, I know for a fact that it didn't. That shit be capped. Only because you want to make your guy look good. No, listen, people got to understand. Gervonta Tank Davis and Brian Norman, when they sparred, I was the person who brought Tank Davis to Brian Norman when he was only 16 years old. What did Tank just do the other day? Tank posted on his Instagram, Atlanta got a 5 champion. They don't even know it. Despite Brian Norman and Tank getting into it, despite Brian Norman Sr. and Tank getting into it, and the two teams getting into it, guess what? He still was 100 about what he said. He still posted what he posted. He still stamped that. I personally think, and my truth is this, I personally think if Boots had have said something during this whole time, it wouldn't even be a smear. It wouldn't even be a smear campaign. Fuck whatever happened to sparring. These two motherfuckers still got to fight. Ain't that's what y'all say, man? That's just sparring. So why give a fuck about it now? Because I had said, oh shit, you know what I said. So fucking what? Y'all been talking shit and ain't keeping it P the whole time. Again, there's no way possible that 500 people seeing this one sparring session and only can seeing them spar, but only forever talking about the first 2 times they ever sparred. What about the 3rd time? What about the 4th time? What about the 5th time? What about the 6th time? What about because I think they sparred about 7 different times. And you ain't fair to tell me you got the best of them every single fucking time.
7. Ugh. So you trying to tell me 2 subtracted from 7 equals 2? No, that's not right. Let me take my fingers out a little bit. 2, because all I've been hearing is two sparring sessions, 2 sparring. I mean, I have heard what Tay just mentioned, but when you're talking about the social media, that's all I've been heard. Oh, didn't he F him up in sparring? Didn't he F him up in sparring? That's all they wanted to talk about. You know, I mean, in sparring, depending on who you're speaking on, I mean, it's one of those situations that's left in the gym. But I have been in situations where some coaches don't care if you record the sparring or not. They already have confidence in their fight. I'm just saying, I've seen it. Once upon a time back then, you know, Norman Senior and Tucker Senior said, I don't care if you record the sparring or not. It is what it is. Some are like that. Some you go into the gym, cut the cameras off. Before we call TSA, cut them off. Everybody got their, hey, call 911. I see a camera. You know, people up there trying to shut down the cameras quick, man. Pat them down. No recording devices. Their focals. Check their cell phones.
I know for a fact that he did it, and I stand on that. Now, trainer, Coach Breadman Edwards, he told me about 2 months ago, the day that he was there. And even he said, now I ain't gonna lie, like they sparred multiple times, I heard, but the day I was there, I can only tell you about the day I was there. That's called keeping it P. Cornflake said the same shit. I can only tell you about the day I was there. When I was there when he sparred Quadir. I even sparred him myself. And I think it was another time. I know he told me that one off air though. But ain't nobody keeping it P though. Come on, man. But they'll tell you, oh, Tay Capping, Tay Jones, this and this, or he affiliated with the LDBC, so all they do is lie and this, and that, boo. Man, I'm just telling you the truth. Y'all ain't heard me hate on Boots one time. My only question is this: is he lying, or is he just puss? It can't be that you knew for a whole month that you was going to 154. May 16th. Let me look at my notes. May 16th, because I had to write everything down because my phone over there. May 16th was when Eddie said something about the damn fight getting made or something like that, right? But I know at the end of May for a fact that this coach told me that your dad said that y'all was going to 154. That was at the end of May. My nigga, it's May 21st. You said it's May 21st. Brian Norman fought. It's the morning of 21st. My bad. It's the morning, Saturday morning. No, Friday, no, Saturday morning. It's Saturday morning. Brian Norman fought on Thursday, which was June 19th. June 18th, you dropped and said that you was going to 54. From May 16th to June 16th is a month. You knew you was going to 154. To June 16th is a month. You knew you was going to 154. May 16th to June 16th is a month. You knew you was going to 154.
Why would you do that? Huh, Ennis? Why would you know? Look, this is what's, it's not puzzling to me because I pretty much follow this trail, man. It was a muddy one. But I followed it. I mean, he has a point. If you knew a month, right? Why would you just stall out the fans and try to pretend like y'all still going for undisputed? At one point in time, people would call Bozy up. And I have nothing against Bozy or Jerron Ennis. First of all, it's just boxing talk. But they'll call him up when supposedly some negotiations was going on. The first time about Ennis moving up to 54, he said, "No, I ain't know nothing about that. We stand at 147. We're gonna unify division 147." That was their declaration, man. They made it perfectly clear, crystal, with a little smudges on it now, that they would stand at 147. 147 was where they were staring at. In this particular case, there has been weeks that passed by. Both Norman and Ennis has had more fights. Has had other fights, right? No matter the performance value, the fight fans in anticipation was waiting for these two guys to clash. The reason being they're both campaigning seeded champions at 147 pounds. There was a unearned title given to Jerron Ennis that he was the king at 147. So when you start to spread the wings, okay, and you jump off the nets and you crash to the ground, that means you're not there yet. There's still some speculation, some proven grounds that need to be handled. You just can't automatically throw the tag up there and the resume isn't the way it's supposed to be. So you couldn't fly away with that narrative. They tried until Senior shut it down. Now we get to a point about what's really going on. What you're really trying to do here. Seriously, a lot of people, inquiring minds, want to know, what are you really trying to do? Stayed around and faked this out and picked up a belt from Stantionis. Low risk, medium reward. Stantionis was a seeded champion at the welterweight division, a fighter who's taken step aside money before, a fighter who has turned down fights before. Nobody wants to talk about it because I guess he got the complexion for the Stantionis protection, goddammit. Yes, sir. He has that protection for the Stantionis complexion. So when it came down to what? He picked up a belt. Word was already out in the streets. I don't know how many platforms I seen Senior on, but he was out there saying, "Hey, we most definitely will fight Ennis once we finish the Jen Sasaki fight." Absolutely. We calling them out. Now, this is before what Tay just said about the month. This is before the news was breaking, so to speak, that, hey, they was planning on moving up. This was a little bit before that. This was them making rounds. The word has been out. They was fighting Jen Sasaki. Okay. Then, Ennis, he's going in there to fight Stantionis. Nobody's believing Stantionis is a 50-50 fight. Post-fight, they didn't even call Norman out once. Once again, I repeat, in English, Braille, ASL, they didn't call the man out once. Once again, I say to you, in all respect, the only thing we heard from Ennis was, he really ain't that good. He ain't that good for real. He ain't that good for real. They was talking about, Eddie Hearn was talking about, we have Gilsoff. Gilsoff is, one shield. And we'll maybe take care of gears off, and then we'll think about that. What Combat was saying. Combat was like, Ennis is not going to unify the welterweight division if these fights aren't back to back. The easiest part to figure out is that if you equate that to Ennis' action, I was spot on. But why? Because he did not mention Norman's name after the Stantionis fight. He wasn't sitting up there defiant and say, let's go. Make it the next fight. Make it the next fight. No, it's cap. And you all feeble-minded boxing fans that was busy wanting to carry Ennis's luggage all over the place and wipe his boots off, make sure they would spit shine. Y'all just as bad because y'all running around here with two numbers, 7.1, 7.1, 7.1, 7.1. Bring in the tamarines, 7.1, 7.1, 7.1, 7.1. That's what y'all was doing. Y'all didn't care about anything else. You got a full human being in there that's supposed to be setting up a clash with another champion in Norman Jr. at 47, but he wouldn't even call out his name. But he say, y'all heard that? He ain't good for real. So you really don't want to fight him. But Tay says a month. You trying to tell me a month? A month? He just fought Jen Sasaki. And Eddie Hearns is bluffing? Eddie Hearns is bluffing. If Brian Norman fought in June and word was passed through the grapevine, I'm talking about them grapes was juicy too. Seriously, them grapes was juicy because you're trying to tell me information was sitting in the grapevine that Boots was moving up to 154, but yet they trying to pretend like, hello. I want to know if you want to lock in a date before the fight. Yeah. It has to be before the fight. Why? Why does it have to be before the fight? Why does it have to be now? What's the sense of urgency? The only way we're locking in this fight is you sign the contract before you go overseas. That's the only way. This sure mean that you want Jerome Ennis, my fighter. You have to lock it in now. Something smells foul and rotten. Most of the time it is. How can word be translated through the phone lines, Wi-Fi connection, tower to tower, that he was moving up 30 days ago? But yet, we're sitting up here being puppetized once again. We're being puppetized once again, people, because the truth is they had plans to get the hell on. We up here talking. Jerron, you heard people talking. Everybody else around you over there heard people talking about, man, I wonder what's going to happen after the Jen Sasaki fight. And Norman, after this fight, I wonder what's going to happen. Everybody was waiting. Senior had already said that he was calling Boots out. They wanted Boots next. Absolutely. I mean, isn't that what was going around? But to find out 30 days and you're going to wait till the 48-hour window close down to announce your move, man, I'm talking about that's one of the most foul, biggest ducking moves ever, in this era. It is, bro. You have just taken away the Ryan Garcia duck move coalition. Ryan Garcia, when he won the WBC interim and Devin Haney jumped in the ring, he said, no, Devin, you my boy, but I'm fighting Gervonta Davis. Knowing that he wasn't going to get a Gervonta Davis fight, at that point in time, he pulled out of that and said he was going to fight Pacquiao. Yes, man, this is all recall memory. It's crazy, man. Let's get to the vid.
And everybody up there creating content, them niggas knew you was going to 154 too. So yes, it does look funny. Yes, Brian Norman had every right to say what he said. When the storm comes, they pick up their boots and run.
When the storm comes, they pick up their boots and run. When the storm comes. Did y'all feel the precipitation? Did you hear any type of thunder? Lightning? I did. We seen lightning. You remember We seen lightning. All you gotta do is look at the thumbnail. We seen lightning, y'all. We seen lightning, but we heard the thunder. Ugh. That left hand thunder came down. It was just insanely crazy to see that go down. The storm came in, they pick up their boots and run. Classic. That's exactly what happened. But not only that, they already knew what the escape plan was 30 days ago. That's foul, bro. That's why I be chilling. That's why I be taking a seat back. And they wonder why I only come, and do live stream situations, because people willing to go through this routine every single day. This shit is labor intensive. There's no way that you're going to get me to come over here and something I've been talking about. I've been talking about Boots ever since he moved up the ranking system. I've been talking about Boots' career ever since he moved up the ranking system, how he fought Thomas Delorme off 2 losses. I've been talking about that shit. I'm the one that put it out there that Boots' boxing FICO was super low. Still is to this day, especially knowing that he ducked Norman Jr. and he got his pundits out here acting like they know no English. Habla English. They can't speak proper English now. Oh, they run around 1.7, 1.7, 1.7. Sound like Shannon Sharp. Skip 1.7, Skip 1.7 when it come down to Norman, accepting a 1.7 without taxes. I think that's still, Skip. I think that's still good money. 1.7.
Because that's what it looked like. Now, I just sat here and broke all this down because that's what it looked like. But more than all the videos I ever said about this shit, I always blame one person. I didn't blame Jerome Boots Ennis. I didn't blame Brian Norman Jr., Brian Norman Sr. I blamed Eddie Hearn.
Uh-oh. Is Eddie to blame? Of course he is. Eddie's to blame, y'all. You have to recognize that Eddie's to blame. Good point. Eddie Hearns is to blame, bro, because he the one that makes everything rotates the way it's supposed to. You know why? You remember when he signed Boots and all players went up? We've just acquired a superstar. He's definitely on ties to be one of the biggest stars of boxing. Jerome Boots Ennis will set the boxing world aflame. Eddie Hearn is the master puppeteer behind everything.
But now I'm asking, is you lying or is it pussy? Because at the same time, that's what it looked like, brother. Your man Greg Hackett just said that's what it looked like too. It looked funny.
Dang. Well, that word right there, that pussy, boy, that's toxic, and it's supposed to be sweet like kiwi mango fruit when you mention. But when you use it as a euphemism, I mean, you use it in another context. Ooh, it can be bad. That means you just are not willing to step up to the task. You know what I'm saying? You look the part, but internally you're not providing us the action to play the part, and that's what that word pussy come. That's ooh, that's rough around the edges, ain't it? You trying to tell me it's not just ducking anymore, but you talking about female ducking? You talking about camel toe ducking? You just unwilling to step up to the plate? You want to run the 54? You want to go nest somewhere else? It might behoove you to stay down here just a little bit. Collect some more checks. What happened to the Philly takeover? I thought y'all was on a Philly takeover. You had 2 Karens and an avocado. Okay, 2 Karens and an avocado. And now you want to change farmers market and go up to 54? Wrong move, buddy. Because you said you made weight just fine. And I truly believe you can still make 147 right now, right here. And being that you are a unified champion, you won't have that IBF rehydration clause. Something ain't right, shawty.
Come on, man. Don't play with me, play with your bitch. Come on, man. This shit look crazy. But people would say, oh, or he turned down 1.7. It wasn't gonna happen for the people who just coming in. It wasn't gonna happen. Why was it not gonna happen in the first place, Tay? Because Eddie Hearn never paid the sanctioning fee to even negotiate a fight with somebody else. Even if they negotiate, even if they had to kept those terms, because it was done publicly, because it was definitely talked about publicly. Even if Jerron Boots Ennis had agreed to that contract and the terms and signed it, he would have been stripped of the IBF title. So y'all really sat there from August to get to the end when you offer the 1.7, and Norman Senior say was shit. We can take the 1.7 if y'all move the fight. Sent back another counter offer. They never said no. Let's be clear. They never said no. But you got people out there who would tell you they said no, but they only listening to the people that's up in Philly. They only listening to Jerron Boots and his team because that's Boots. I get it. I get it. He's a name. He's well known. He has a bigger name than Junior. I get it. I ain't no hater. I get it. But at some point, you have to have some integrity and tell the truth. That's it. This fight was never gonna happen, man. But since the talks did come back up, you turn down the fight with Virgil. You say you wanted to stay at 147, become undisputed. There was no offer sent to Brian Norman after he fought, after Boots fought. It didn't. Nothing came about until after that, to May 16th. And they never turned that down. They agreed to say, yeah, we could talk about it after the fight. Eddie was the one who said, well, we need to lock this in before you guys fight in Japan. But he told y'all on an interview, he said, let's do it after the fight. That's not what he said. And the same information that I just gave out over the past hour is the same information that those other guys from Philly got.
That's facts.
And like
same information.
Before, people said, oh, there ain't no footage of this. Well, when Quadir dropped his highlights, Brian Norman Sr. came back and put the real thing out. But like Norman told me, he like, man, he's like, bro, we ain't doing that. Cool. We ain't doing that. How cool? We cool. We ain't doing that. But what happens in sparring stays in sparring. So I'm gonna just leave it at that. I ain't got nothing else to do with it. I'm gonna just leave it at that. But again, there's no way that 500 to 1,000 people only seen them spar 2 times when they spar multiple different times. And you're not about to tell me that the same thing happened every time. There's one person who ain't gonna lie, is Brian Norman Jr. Because he already told me what happened. Senior ain't gonna lie to you either. The same thing Junior said was the same thing Norman said, and Junior wasn't even around. Cornflake said that, he held his own. Another coach told me he held his own, but he did feel one about sparring session of the.
In my bag. Shout out to the chat, man. The hottest in the game. I see BX over here with a female on this picture, acting like one. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you want to go ahead and talk about information that's chronologically distorted. You need to get your chronological order intact first before you start typing. I understand you've mastered the art of typing, but how you contextualizing those home keys, I have a problem with. You know what I'm saying? You're chronological. I don't know how old you are. I don't know how long you've been watching boxing. Maybe 2-3 days. I don't know. But you're talking about 1.7, and then you're talking about locking the fight after Sasaki that Norman turned down. Norman turned down the Sasaki fight, huh? So they just supposed to lock in the contract when the video went viral. Now they're worth more money. I mean, it's strange. Whether you come over here with some substance, right? Something organic, something that we can build off of, but not just the hoopla, not just regular hoopla, man.
You know how you felt about the sparring session on one day. Cool. It's sparring. I ain't got no problem with that. But it's funny how they saying this over here, but everybody else saying differently. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm saying, dog. Like, but again, man, I'm not dropping no tape, no none. I'm not doing that shit. I had my questions. I asked my questions. I need for them Blues fans to answer my question. That's it. Because it was a whole month went by. He knew he was going 154. I know June. I know for a fact May 22nd when I got the text message about him going to 154. I know for a fact May 16th was when Eddie had said something about making a fight after the Japan fight, when he said he had to sign a contract before. That was May 16th. So from right when he 16th was when Eddie had said something about making a fight after the Japan fight, when he said he had to sign a contract before. That was May 16th. So from May 16th to June 16th, you dropped the video June 18th. So that means you knew for a month and 2 days you was going to 154. Why did you just drop the video if you knew it?
Good question. That's the inquiring minds want to know. You know, you always talk about, we always say memory serves me correctly, right? But memory refers to the psychological process of acquiring, storing, retaining, and later retrieving information. The retrieving part is the problem. You know what I'm saying? When I think about it, I say, why aren't y'all retrieving information the correct way? You're being selective about it. You're keeping certain information in the recycle bin because you just don't want to talk about it because it's going to prove your narrative wrong. You just want to keep it away, and then you want to retrieve the pieces that you believe is going to validate your point. People always talking about days. Some of you all just shows that you're not the sharpest in the toolbox. Because if somebody had information for that amount of days, and let's just say Eddie's talking about locking in a fight prior to the Jen Sasaki fight. Why? Why does the fight have to be locked in prior to? What's the purpose of that? And then me, I'm going to be honest, I don't know what the numbers look like or what the price tag or the purse or anything. I from what I heard, it may not have been any numbers in there or whatever, but just the whole fact of locking in the Jen Sasaki. Why? That doesn't make any sense. Why does that make the most sense to lock in a fight with Boots before the Jen Sasaki fight? When Norman and Boots would definitely fight later on this year. They're not going to fight the next weekend after Norman flatlined Sasaki. Now he has to goddamn jump right back in the ring next week. He couldn't do that because Boots would be overweight. And then they'll be over here talking about, man, I tried to tell Comeback that we was moving up to 154. I heard what all of them had to say about the information being out there 30 days ago. That just goes to show you. I was moving up before then. That's why I can't, man, get out of here. Come on now.
Hella good fighters. Haven Brady, Quadir, man, I ain't gonna lie. Haven Brady, Quadir, and what's the other kid? The one that just fought. The one that beat Keyshawn in the amateurs.
Andy Cruz.
Bo's got a fucking team up there.
Facts.
No, I ain't even talking about Tellez. I'm talking about Andy Cruz, Haven Brady, Quadir. Well, they got a squad up there, man. I definitely like Quadir for sure. I seen him spar down here before he even sparred Brian Norman Jr. Let me get to the chat real quick and stuff. Make that again. I need that question to fight. Yeah, Quadir. Yeah. I don't give a fuck what happened between him and Brian Norman Jr. Like I say, that shit just gym shit. You know what I'm saying? But I like Quadir. And Boots calling Brian Norman a clock. Like, come on, bro. Come on, man.
Cloud chaser. I'm not going to get into any name calling or titles, but there's no way that you, Jerron Ennis, believes that you have clout. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you definitely. That's just like telling somebody, your credit score. You have a pretty decent credit score, and it's 460. Man, come on, 460. They ain't a lot. They ain't a lot right there, man. That's a lot, dog. I mean, I can still get approved, man, for real. You know, interest rate might be 32.8%, but I still get approved.
Crazy, man.
I know Senior was gonna come on.
Oh.
Here. I think he just showed up.
Text me your email, B.
I haven't heard this part yet. I haven't.
I know, B. Send me your email. I think I might have got it. Hold on.
So Senior's about to get on Tay's live.
Ooh.
I haven't heard this part.
He said, "No way, you live." First part. 5 a.m. Oh, damn. Let me see. Send me a. Yeah, B just hit me. Yeah, ain't nothing now. Could have been in Japan cheering on to draw more attention to that fight if you wanted to smoke. Nah, I don't think so. Because at the same time, yeah, I don't think so. Man, just got these guys. You up early?
Goddamn went to sleep. You know, I'm still 13 hours ahead. So you know,
you up early, man.
I'm up early, man. Yeah, man. What's going on, though?
So I was just telling you, I was just speaking my truth, and speaking on everything that has transpired between the two camps. I was also talking about how some of the media members that's from Philly have privy to the same information because you sent it to them, but they still choose to create their own narrative. But they'll call me capped up.
Right, absolutely. Nah, man. I was just talking to Jamil a little earlier tonight. You know what I'm saying? I said the same thing. Like, bro, y'all ain't. I said, he told me, I'm neutral nigga. No, the fuck you are not. You paint a picture that wasn't there. You feel what I'm saying? You got these niggas still desperate, talking about sparring that happened when B was 20 years old. And watch this. I gave them that, and that shit happened one fucking day.
Right.
After that day, that shit never happened again. I pressed it was Jamil. I pressed what's Greg. All of them on Mill City, I said this was back before the niggas started lying about it dropping and all this in the quitting and all that shit. This before all of that. So they kept getting worse and worse. It's even so bad. I was thinking about going back through my old Mill.
Right.
If I go back through my old Mill City interviews, it'll be too long. If I go back through my old Mill City interviews, I will find it. Where them niggas say, I asked specifically, did he hurt him? They said no. Was he bloody? They said no. These niggas said that shit. Did he drop him? This was before Bozy came out with that bold-faced lie. You feel what I'm saying? Right. And then when Bozer came out with that, nigga, he took fire. Oh, man, he dropped him. He was hurt. And they like, nigga, what? These niggas so lame, bro. It's retarded. But you know what? Bottom line, fuck all the old shit. He was 20 years old, and it was only one day. And two, the question is, how about now? I told Jamil to ask them. I said, why don't you do this thing? If you're across the board and you're a journalist, ask them niggas, is that the same Brian Norman they saw in the gym down there? That's what I told them. Then I asked him, I said, is that the same Brian Norman y'all saw in the gym down there ever? He was like, no. So what the fuck are y'all talking about? You feel what I'm saying?
Right.
What are y'all talking about? Look, I asked him, did you play the clip of what?
Yeah, I got the clip right here.
Okay, so I asked him, look, basic. Did Boost say that he wanted to fight Brian? Did Eddie say that Boost wanted to make a fight with B in October, November, December? Yes. Okay, is it October, November, December? Anywhere near it? No. So what the fuck are we talking about? So I tell you what, why November, December? Anyway, in October, November, did Boost say that he wanted to fight Brian? Did Eddie say that Boost wanted to make a fight with B in October, November, December? Yes. Okay, is it October, November, December? Anywhere near it? No. So what the fuck are we talking about? So I tell you what, why y'all doing the bashing and all of this? Put the fight on, my nigga. Tell this nigga to put it in the ring. But then they'll switch it and say shit like they saying everything, but let's fight. No, motherfucker, I've been saying let's fight. They not saying let's fight.
That's a fact. He has been saying let's fight. He said we get rid of Jen Sasaki, but when it comes to the critics say, well, he could have fought Boots next. Boots just got out of fight camp. This is what I'm talking about. These Tonka Toy type freaking media people, these casual Tonka Toy fans. They just think of it as a play. You know, when you have recess and timeout, you know, back in the day when you was in grade school. I mean, serious. Like October, November is so far away. So far away. Boost wasn't gonna jump back into the ring. And look, let me provide you even some more residue, right? Let me scrape up some more crumbs. You remember when they was complaining about Crawford not taking a fight and Canelo was taking a fight and Crawford was going to have a year off and he should take a tune-up fight at 168 and because he's going to be, you know what I'm saying, it's going to be a bad move for him to take a year off and then step in there with Canelo. Well, this fight right here, they're pretty close together with, you know, Jaron Ennis, you know, in his last fight. Jaron Ennis, April 12th of this year. So he had ample amount of time to get out, right? And then you talk about April, May, June. You think that it will be cool for Brian Norman to Brian Norman's last fight with Derek Cuevas was March 29th this year. So you're saying it would have been cool for Norman to just hang out the ring, right? Miss a paycheck, hang out the ring, miss a paycheck, and wait all the way to November when y'all steadily up here complaining about fighters fight once a year and all that. I mean, doesn't it make sense? You know, he had the Cuevas fight in March. Get back in there and have a Jen Sasaki fight, and then him fighting Ennis would have been his third fight of this calendar year.
They don't want to fight. This shit is amazing, bro. You can listen. You can go through any OISM video. Go through the comments. You're going to find me in there telling them, tell this nigga, this before staying on this fight. This before all of, tell this nigga to fight us next. Tell this nigga to fight us next. Then they'll say, he was trying to fight y'all, but y'all went to Japan. No. In the press conference, they literally asked him. He said he was going on vacation. They was going to figure out what they was going to do. Yep. And they said they was coming back in September. You feel what I'm saying? We got over $40 million pay over here. You feel what I'm saying? Nigga, I'm not gonna miss work because you see. I'm not gonna miss work because you ain't got your car, nigga. What I look like? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
This shit is wild, man. This is not even hard. And the easiest thing to say is, wow, I did not just tell him, nigga, man, whoop this nigga ass and shit. This nigga be Norm Senior. Bro, do you know how soft that made these niggas look? You ain't gotta say nothing else to him. Like, look, bro, why don't y'all go press that man? Because I even said that to him before the Jensen Saki fight and before the St. Jonas fight. I said, why y'all doing all this talking? Go spam that nigga shit. Press that nigga, say, bro, beat this nigga ass. Beat his ass. We just trying to get him in the ring. That's it. Yeah, that's it. So they talk, you talking shit and throwing rocks, but we want to get a nigga in the ring? Come on, bro.
Man, that's all I'm saying. Like I said before, you know, I said what I said. But my whole thing was, if everybody's seeing this first two spar sessions, well, what about the other part of spar?
Exactly. But that's what I'm saying. I don't even, first of all, he was 20. That's first of all. So why the fuck we talking about sparring? He was 20. They wasn't giving him that same energy when it was about Tank. They said it was just sparring. You feel what I'm saying?
Exactly. Tank just came out and gave his pride.
And that's what I told people. I was like, bro, they sending it to me. I'm like, I mean, he already knew. They tell y'all that everything happened, bro. This is what they hate. They so used to niggas on the internet and on Instagram faking and capping. That's what they want to hear. They don't truth. They don't want to know when the nigga comes out and telling the truth. They don't like that shit. Right. No, they want a nigga that lie. Look, watch this. I'm sure you probably said this today because we talked about this. Boost is one of two things. Either he's a liar or a pussy. You take your pick. You take your fucking pick. If he's a liar, you can't choose what to believe or what not to believe. If he's a pussy, then he's just a pussy. You make up your mind. He just said a month and a half ago, he made it easy. He just said even before that, he wanted to go undisputed. He just said even with the virtual situation, he ain't looking for number unification bouts. You got an opportunity at this and that. And we give you, and we tell you publicly you had an opportunity at this and that. So he's one of two things, a liar or a pussy. Absolutely. All of this now, bro, like I heard you finna say at the end, yeah, it's time to dead the shit because it's clear what it is. They just don't want to know the truth. It ain't about what's true and what's not. They don't want it to be true. You get what I'm saying? It's like, you know, with Michael Jordan, LeBron James type shit. You feel what I'm saying? Mike is our man or whatever the case may be. Like, nigga, you ain't gonna come and tell me this new nigga better than my homeboy. You feel what I'm saying? Like, ain't nothing you got to say about that. But it's the same thing. But I mean, Mike is the man to me. But I'm just saying that's the mentality of what it is. They so used to the old. Like, you ain't gonna come in and tell me this new nigga. This nigga 24 years old. Show me a boost highlight that come in even close to be high, to be, you know what I'm saying? Shit. So
that question has been asked. That question has been asked about a highlight. That's why I said, you look at the Santillion fight, it's more entertaining than any fight that Boots has, even Stantionis. Stantione's fight wasn't anything that was spectacular. It was no different than the Avanesian fight, really. Look at it. That was no different than the Avanesian fight. Period. I'm just being honest. In the backyard, comfortable, feet up, making weight, and all of a sudden that changed. He didn't take an L. He just got to a point where it was no more ducking, no more dodging. And the puppeteer himself came out to play, trying to sit up here and lock in a fight, which makes no sense. What's the sense of urgency? We're not doing the same thing. I'm just speaking in third person. We're not doing the same thing so people can run, they're still running with the 1.7. They can say, oh, well, like I tell people all the time about Eddie Hearns. They say, you know, we're going to offer the Normans more than they ever made in their life. Yeah. But 1.7 was what we offered previously. But now we're going to offer them 1.7.6. Okay. We're going to add on an extra $6. And, you know, that's the more he ever made in his career, even with Jin Sasaki. Man, come on, man. Don't nobody want to play Eddie Hearns games, bro.
Somebody just asked the chat. He ain't never had a knockout like that.
Never had a knockout like this. Left nigga on the stretcher. Nigga was still asleep. You feel what I'm saying? Show me where Boots took the wheel out of a nigga and brought him with Santia and broke that. Show me where Boots even fought a nigga in his hometown. Show me where Boots
took the wheel out of him. I know with them Boots. I know what they're gonna start stumping. Ramon Villa. He stopped them. Yeah. He dropped Villa, but come on, bro. Villa, you know, he was there for the taking. Real talk, he was there for the taking. They'll say the same thing. Jin Sasaki was there for the taking. But even when the fight ended for Villa, it ended in the embrace of the referee holding him up to stop the fight. The stretcher became an ambulatory freaking mode of transportation to the freaking medical room. Period.
Boots fought a nigga that was not favored for Boots. And they talk about who he fighting. He fought a sushi chef. Okay, well, Boots had fought sushi chefs too. And he hit on them a lot. And a whole bunch more. And that nigga didn't do no damage. The referee stopped it. The corner stopped it. This nigga ain't putting no motherfucking power together. They missing that, bro. This is not hard.
Right.
Everything we've been saying and everything I've been saying is lining up. Everything Boots saying that he don't even say a lot. Don't add up the shit. What does that tell you? He don't even talk a lot, but when he do talk, it don't make sense.
It don't make sense.
When he do talk, it don't make sense. How many times I told you that, y'all? The only thing that makes sense is when he say for real. This is the same guy who said, when I get my titles, I'm gonna step on them. It's over. And then once how he got his title was via paperwork, a dead end letter, stripping somebody, and then said, "Come get your title, Pinkaboo, come get your title." Man, come on now, come on, man.
Talking at the press conference don't make sense. That's why I'm telling you, it would have been better if he said something, but because he don't say nothing, it make him look bad.
And then make what it does. That's why it takes so long. Even with the Virgil situation, it take him so. And then when he came back to the excuse was dumb as hell. It makes him. What he does is he needs excuses. So it's like that he goes these long spells of time and he listens to what the narrative is, and he try to paint it around the narrative. So the narrative now for him ducking, from the time that Eddie posted that video about him moving up, everybody was calling him a duck, right? So he took a whole week, and the day before my fight, he came out and said something about it. So what he said was he was too big, and the doctor said, "Nigga, you just did a whole bunch of interviews, and in every other interview, you said you was fine. The only time you say anything about his time to move to 54 was after you look like shit in the second Karen fight. That's the only time he ever said it."
Exactly.
All the fucking excuses, but when big Norman shit add up to 1 + 1 + 1, when our shit add up, they don't want to hear that shit. 4 years old, niggas damn near 30. Boo's damn near 30. Right. So why we look the fact that we comparing a 24-year-old to a fucking 30-year-old, you feel what I'm saying? And he still never fought in enemy territory. He's never fought outside the country. He's never got a knockout like highlight like that on nothing. You feel what I'm saying? But they got the same amount of 24 and 30 and down there 28 and 28. They got the same amount of title defenses now. What the fuck are we talking about, really?
You're right about that.
You feel me? They don't want to hear that. They hate the nigga. The truth be whooping their ass.
Did he say the same amount of title defenses? Wow. But he's 28 years old. Haven't he had enough time? Haven't he had enough time? You know what I'm saying? Hasn't this dude had enough time with 30 plus victories to separate himself? How do you separate yourself if the welterweight division is trying to align one king, one fighter on the throne as the overall dominant king, the welterweight king? How do you do that? You fight him. You know, and I saw somebody in the chat talk about, you know, why some potentially deleting videos. Listen, the criteria, I mean, the clips are out there. I'm pretty sure certain individuals have those clips. But, you know, when you look at, you may wait easy and these people don't know what they're talking about. It's the same thing Senior was talking about when he opened his mouth. You know what I'm saying? He not making sense. You made the way easy. And you was in your bag for real. You know, you was good on Tuesday. But now all of a sudden you say 28 years old, 28 freaking times on the interview. You acting like you me. You acting like you old, man. You acting like your body don't been through the wear and tear and your ligaments. You could barely stand up. Come on, man. You a young bull. You 27 going on 28 in a couple of days. And this dude up here talking about, I'm 28. I ain't never heard a fighter. Never heard a fighter talk the way he talk in his 20s and talking about, man, you know, I've been in this division 9 years, man. I'm freaking 28 years old, man. My grandkids told me, hey, Pop, when you gonna goddamn step out that boxing ring, man? You done enough. It ain't nothing else for you to prove. You ain't gonna get in the Hall of Fame if you quit today, but you ain't got nothing else to prove, man. Do it for the fans.
Nigga, when I was talking to Jamil today, bro, it was so crazy. He couldn't even answer questions directly. He couldn't answer that shit directly, and this nigga's supposed to be a journalist. I was on.
Not only that, he.
Let me get something straight. This is no knock on Senior. This is no knock on Senior. Journalists, okay? There's certain criteria that involves being a journalist. Me, I have records of being a journalist who have wrote my own articles, edit my own articles when I was on that type of time. Videos, photos. Now, not everybody can be stamped as a journalist. You might be performing duties, journalistic duties, but in this YTC, most of these guys are just media members. I'm just putting it out there. They can't write no articles. They can't write an article. They haven't wrote one article. You go to worldcombatsports.com. All them articles you see that I wrote out there is what I freaking wrote. I don't need nobody to justify the depth. But journalism consists of articles. You have to know how to write an article. Not just get on here and talk behind the mic. That's why a lot of these guys are coming up short. Because people believe they're journalists and they're media members.
Privy to all the information. You said it to me.
All the information she gonna tell me, and then he gonna tell me he know things that I don't know. I say, okay, well, I tell you what, I know things that you don't know, and I do know this. I do know this man was talking about when he was telling me about this. What he tried to tell me this tonight. He gonna try to tell me that Boost was planning on moving up back November the 9th last year. You know, the Karen fight. That's what it was, right? That's why they offered Charles Conway. Okay, if that was the case, then why the fuck didn't he fight Virgil for all that money? You feel?
Man, he dropping some facts, man. He's swinging the hammer, bro. Somebody need to take that hammer. He's swinging the hammer. Why you didn't fight Virgil? Y'all was not in a hurry. Once again, Southern style. Y'all wasn't in a hurry to move up there and fight Virgil for all that money. You wasn't in a hurry. But it seemed like you're in a hurry now. Seemed like you're in a rush. Why the haste? You wasn't in a hurry just a couple of months ago. You said, you know, I don't want that fight with Virgil. I just wanted, what was what they said? I remember, you know, watching some video, you know, he said, somebody said that he just wanted to take some time, enjoy his family and all. Man, come on. Hey, you taking time off now at 28 years old? Make up your mind. You getting older or you just using 28 years old as an excuse?
You know what I'm saying? Like, nigga, their shit is too inconsistent. But it takes the fans that just refuse to believe that the nigga that they've been praying on and the next Roy Jones and Jesus Christ is you know what I'm saying? It's just they refuse to believe it. They want to talk about
Roy Jones,
you know,
like
I said, with the numbers. Giovanni Santillan, ranked number 1 in the WBO at the time. B took him out. Jen Sasaki, ranked number 2 in the WBO at the time. B took him out. Currently, just as of last week, I look today still. Currently, you got this was the Ring Magazine ranking. Boots the champ, Brian number 1, Gaston number 2. We know he got to do. Barrios number 3, he fighting Pacquiao. Giovanni Santillan number 4, B already beat him. Gilsoft number 5, and Jen Sasaki number 6. So what they want? What they want to do? It ain't nobody else. What they want to do? You gotta be no elite fighters. Where the fuck the elite fighters at? What elite fighters they want to be?
Right.
What we talking about? Boots ain't be no fucking elite fighter. What elite fighters that Boots is fighting? That's so motherfucking. You feel what I'm saying? What are we talking about?
I agree, man. I definitely agree. It's just crazy to me, man. And man, it's crazy you popped up too. It's crazy you popped up too. I had to look at the screen twice. Crazy to me.
What we talking about? Boots ain't be no fucking elite fighter. What elite fighters that Boots is fighting? That's so motherfucking. You feel what I'm saying? What are we talking about? Boots ain't be no fucking elite fighter. What elite fighters that Boots is fighting? That's so motherfucking. You feel what I'm saying? What are we talking about?
Now, though that's gonna rub people opposite of good, it's facts. Boots have not. His resume isn't elite, and there's certain people up here that's trying to call Boots elite, knowing damn well that he has no performances. Now you have 3 performances on Norman's resume that anyone in their right mind as a boxing fans will turn on and watch before any Karen fight, before any avocado fight, and before any Roman Villa fight. They will turn on either 3 of those fights. It's just all about how much time they got. They say, you know, what I want, some action. Okay, all 3, I'm gonna get action. But what, you know, do I want a brutal conclusion? And do I want the action movie to play out a little bit so I can see the actual, you know, violence inflicted? Then let me start with Santillan. Let me just start with Santillan a little bit. And then, you know, they might say, okay, let me skip over Cuevas. I'm just looking for a lethal, devastating conclusion. Let me go up here, Jen Sasaki. I want to go overseas a little bit. Grab the canoe, baby. Grab the canoe right quick. Get the oars. We're gonna cross these waters and go over there and watch that fight. A goddamn where it all took place. Okay, we're going over to Tokyo. We're going over there. Yeah. We're gonna paddle through these waters, man, so we can get the real effect on how it must have felt for Jen Sasaki. You know what I'm saying? I mean, come on, man. 3 fights. 3 fights is better than Boots' whole resume. That's a fact. I even said it. Santillan fight is the best fight, period, than Boots' entire resume. Anybody he's fought. And the only reason people would disagree with it because they want to argue. They're qualified to argue.
I agree, man. I definitely agree. It's just crazy to me, man. And man, it's crazy you popped up too. It's crazy you popped up too. I had to look at
I've actually been up for about an hour and a half, but I was searching other shit. She came by and said live. I said live. I clicked that shit. But I didn't hear nothing you said because as soon as I clicked it, I started texting. Nigga, I know damn well this ain't no lie.
Yeah, man, I'm on live, man.
So I don't even know what you was even talking about. I just clicked this. I know goddamn well, nigga, this can't be live. I know.
I had to go and get this off my chest. I had to go and get this off my chest.
Yeah, man, look, they go. Yeah, you know, Jamil said whatever you said, whatever, but that whatever, man. You know what I'm saying? Them niggas, all them niggas capping line. If I had the time, if I had the energy to go back to the Mill City shit, and I just may do it if I get pissed off enough. Them niggas said it on live, and we was live. Them niggas said it on live interviews. This was way back. I said, did Boots ever hurt beating on him? Did you ever see it? They said no. Did you ever see blood? No. Did you ever see him hit the camera? This before both like no.
Well, hey, we can put that to bed, bury it. The question was proposed: did y'all ever see Boots hurt him? And that's been a running narrative out here to the to the casuals and temporary boxing fans. That's the first thing they want to bring up. They want to bring up sparring. They want to talk about he was dropped. He took a knee. He didn't make it out to sparring. But you've been told once again that the footage is out there. The receipts are out there. He asked the people that was there in the hometown, did he ever get hurt? Did he ever get dropped? Period. I mean, the receipts are out there.
You feel what I'm saying? I need to find that shit.
Yeah,
But you know, I did so many with him. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, that's
But
that's like last year sometime.
yeah. But them niggas said it, and then Bosa came out with the fuck shit, and I'm like, nigga, and now everybody's niggas. Look, the nigga JYD, who we seen one time in life, and we seen him one time in life. We sparred JYD and we sparred J Rock that day. We didn't spar Boost that day. That's the craziest thing. This nigga, I've seen him every time. It wasn't even close. He dropped him. And he like, nigga, if you don't shut your gay ass up, nigga, come on, bro.
What's crazy about it, because Coach Breadman Edwards, he told me about it, but he also said that B can hold his own. And then Cornflake, Thomas Lamana, and he told the truth. Why they made a video saying that Boa Chica said he can't punch. I got the video on my channel when I interviewed Thomas Lamana, when Thomas Lamana said he can punch. I just played it for everybody.
Yeah, and look, and he was goddamn 20. Look, we ain't been to Philly since B was 22 years old. We ain't even been there. We haven't even been there since B was 22 years old.
I know.
And, not to mention, B hands got good. This is another misconception I even had to remind B. The timeline of B hands, he only had 2 good hands from Quentin Round on out. So Quentin Round, his hands was good. Boca Chica, his hands was good. And you see what happened with Santillan. He hurt his left again with the uppercut.
Surgery.
He had the surgery again, right? And so his hands just been good again since the last 3 fights. You feel what I'm saying? They was good for Santillan, and he hurt it again. And like I said, it was good for Quentin Roundle. It was good for Boca Chica. It was good for Santillan. Then he hurt it again. He hurt the other one in Santillan fight, and then he had to have surgery. And he came back and did what he did to Quaybaz, and then he just did what he did to Jen Sasaki. So you talking about a 20-year-old nigga with bad hands?
Come on, man.
A 20-year-old kid with bad hands. You know what I'm saying? But they still praising again. I love Abdullah Mason, but they still praise Abdullah Mason and get dropped by a dude that had a really fucked up Achilles heel. Y'all go back. I've been peeped all of that shit, but I'm not gonna do it because I'm not gonna throw no salt on Abdullah. You know what I'm saying? But the guy he got dropped with, if you want, I ain't gotta do that. Don't even matter. Just they give some people the benefit of the doubt and they don't give others. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But look, you know me. I look at everything, bro. You know what it is. I always talk to you. You feel me?
Yeah.
I always drop some sauce so you hear it. That's why Tay be talking all that. He know what it is. JC.
I know he know.
Yeah.
Man, let me go and get her back to bed, man. She don't woke up, man.
Okay, man. I'm gonna let you be out.
All right.
So once again, I dropped a link the other day. This is the link to the full interview if you want to check it out. He did drop some good points early on. Dealing with the Jaron Ennis saga. That's turned into a saga because when people want to talk about clout chasing, there's no way that you can say that was clout chasing when it comes to Normans. Because for one, Ennis, he doesn't have any clout. Just because you say the word clout doesn't mean you have clout. He's playing catch up right now. And look, I'm gonna tell you from all this should have gotten was an ethical reception. Brian Norman Jr. and Jaron Ennis fighting later on this year. Ethically in the sport of boxing, it should be accepted because both fighters are champions, and they're matched up to a point where no one can say it's not a 50-50 fight. At this point in time, coming off the Jen Sasaki destruction, annihilation, decimation, right? No one's going to go into that Boots fight talking about Boots 70-30, 80-20. They're not. They're going to go in there like it's a 50-50 fight because of what they've witnessed, what they've seen. If you U.S. fans continue to support these Japanese fighters based off the strength of just giving them free, I'm talking about free reward points up front without them actually buying a product. You're giving them free reward points. They would just want to, just make you a satisfied customer. We gave you 5,000 reward points so you can buy the product for free. Just use the app and click on the product and just really use the, reward points. And hopefully we can keep you as a long-term customer. That's not how it works. That's not how it works when it comes down to this right here. There's too many areas where Boots duck Virgil. You know what I'm saying? Boots didn't want to, basically take a tough fight. Then he fights Stantionis, who's already taking step aside money. He up there talking about he was going to be in and out like a robbery with Karen. I know I'm bringing up some things that really rub people the wrong way. In and out like a robbery when he fought Cadman, but yet he was in there having lunch at the cafe, drinking a latte. And I said, God damn, I'm out there chilling, right? It's hot as fuck. I'm like, dang, when the boots coming out? This is a robbery? When is he coming out with the loot? This mug up there just doing videos. You know how I do when he get behind the freaking mic. Hey, man, I told him when I get this title, it's over. I'm stepping on it. I'm stepping on it. Yeah, I'm 28, man. It's time for me to step on it. I mean, I'm 27 for real. I'm 27. I'm gonna be 28 for real. But at the end of the day, I sent them 3 offers. They rejected all of them. They don't want to fight for real. He ain't that good for real. Brian ain't that good for real. I mean, if you really, understand English, and this is after the Stantionis fight, after, AFT, after. This is post. All you had to do is to be defiant, make a definitive stance, and say, we, the team, want Norman after he fight Jen Sasaki. Boots didn't do it. You know why? Because he just don't want that tough fight. Eddie Hearns don't want that tough fight. That's why Rachel Donaire broke it down and talked about the non-refundable $20,000. I wish she can break that down again on a different live so people can shut up. Because the bad thing about it, she broke it down over on YSM. She broke it down on several freaking platforms, and people still took it for granted. Only because she was kicking the truth and she was dropping some dang knowledge. Sometimes people don't want to hear knowledge. They want to hear narratives. They get it confused. You know what I'm saying? It sounds like knowledge starts with an N. It starts with a K. You know what I'm saying? But they want to look at like, oh, well, well, we ain't gonna respect what Rachel broke down. Rachel said clearly that Eddie Hearns did not pay the 20 grand when you have a mandatory for them to even consider. And then there's certain criteria to consider them for you not to face the mandatory challenger. You know what I'm saying? If that mandatory challenger is injured, I remember that one. If the mandatory challenge is injured or whatever, you can move on to a certain other fight. It's some other criteria that she detailed, but they don't want to. I remember her being on the panel, and people didn't really want to pay attention to the 20 grand not being sent. Just like Tay mentioned, if the 20 grand is not sent for the IBF to take it into consideration, then everything else does not move. It doesn't move. That is a $20,000 non-refundable. Y'all know what non mean, right? Non-refundable. That means you're submitting with all the risk of not getting anything back, regardless if you're approved or not. Non-refundable. This is unfortunate for him. This tarnishes his career. Him not fighting Norman, but yet he wanted to fight Bud Crawford. He don't want to fight Norman, but he wanted to so-called fight Bud Crawford. I want to look at it like we're not really sure he wanted to fight Bud Crawford. I mean, imagine that. I'm not really sure he wanted to fight Bud Crawford, bro. And then you have a division once Bud Crawford vacated the belts that is open season for these two lines to get the contract signed, face off, media, get the pressers popping, have us put it on the schedule. Hey, man, this fight finally happened. No more talk. As Deontay Wilder said, no more ducking, no more dodging. It's here. The fight is here. That's all we want to see with these. That's all we want to see. And it's only one fighter that wanted to fight point blank, period. And y'all should understand that clearly. Y'all should understand that Boots did not want this fight. If you're talking about Bozy passed that word 30 days back in May, and they was moving up to 154. Well, Eddie Hearns knew this also. He wasn't in the dark about this. He knew they was moving up. So what Eddie Hearns was doing and what Team Ennis was doing was basically puppetizing. They was on the carousel having a good old time at the local park. I mean, at the local carnival. They had no intentions. If you're telling us 30 days and Eddie is coming out here, trying to lock in a fight prior to Jen Sasaki, it was just all fluff, yo. They really had no serious intentions of fighting Norman. They just made it seem like, they was teasing the fight fans. They was putting on a facade, man. That's all. This is a big facade. At 147, he can clearly make the weight. Clearly. Ennis can clearly make the weight. But you know what's even more frightening for Ennis is that him and Norman fights outside of Philly. That's what he don't like. Ennis to fight outside of Philly. So we supposed to, we the boxing fans supposed to go back to the same freaking negotiation process when these two link up and he's trying to have a fight in Philly again, and they're coming in with low numbers. I know how Eddie Hearn works, man. He did the same shit with Wilder. He said he did the same thing with Wilder with this flat fee. No other fighter that Joshua's faced had a flat fee, a flat fee purse. But he suggested that for Wilder to discourage him. And the crazy part, Wilder ended up accepting it, because Joshua got on here without permission and said, give me $50 million, I'll fight tomorrow. But it had stipulation. We'll fight this year with no rematch clause. It never happened. All of a sudden, the WBA came up with a freaking mandatory for Alexander Povetkin. It had to be they had to go in talks immediately to make this happen, or else he would be stripped. Come on, man. Boxing play these games, yo. I've been around town a time or two. This right here tells me that Ennis did not want that fight with Norman. Y'all cats going around here talking about he ain't headline. Well, guess what? You have a fighter who's headline in Philly, and he still don't want to fight the fighter who has a headline, a big card, a major card in his hometown. What does that say about him? What does that say about him? So if it doesn't tell you what you want, it doesn't give you the relief you're looking for, just like a Rolaids, you should shut up. Because you keep on talking about who ain't headline, but your fighter who has headline, different name opponents in Philly, refuse to call this guy out. How does that supposed to be respected? He refused to call this man out. He refused to call him out. He refused to call him out. People going around here talking about, where is he? Is he ever headline? He refused to call him out. What's the purpose of headlining in your backyard if you don't want to call out the hitter? What's the purpose? You willing to fight and take less money to another champion who's a less risk. Oh my goodness, man. That's many names I can use for you, Ennis. But it ain't personal for me. I'm just saying there's a lot of names that is going to be unlikable names. It's going to be names that is considered to be a bit disrespectful when it comes to the actions. You took less money than Stantionis to appease him for a belt. You paid for a belt. That's what you did, Ennis. Ennis paid for a freaking belt, but he wouldn't get in Eddie Hearn's ear and really let him know he want the Norman fight. No, Eddie Hearn's itinerary was to get Boots mediocre fights in his backyard, milk the hometown people, You know, make the money, milk them, make them believe that this is going to be the ultimate performance. And that ultimate performance never showed up. They was disappointed that Karen went the distance again when Boots said he was going to be in and out like a robbery. He came in there, his boots must have been unlaced because he was in there eating cafe. He was having a goddamn ham and cheese, freaking egg, and egg croissant. I saw, I could have sworn it's a robbery. It wasn't no robbery. It turned into brunch. He went 12 rounds twice with Karen. And then the doctor had to come in to cancel the Avanesian fight. Then he paid for a belt. How can you pay Stantionis for a belt who already has taken step aside? How can you go here and be respected and take less money than Stantionis, but yet you got these fools out here talking about, Norman, he had the highest payday of his pay, 1.7. He should have took it. See, that was discrimination. It's like tear gas a little bit. Discrimination is floating around too freely in the social media community. I mean, these narratives stank. For real. They stank all to be damned. Because nobody talks about Ennis taking less money than Stantionis, but yet you want to talk about why Norman didn't take 1.7. Like you really give a damn about what he getting paid. You wasn't up here asking why Stantionis was being paid more money, why Boots took less money for Stantionis, when both of them are champions. Norman is a champion, Stantionis is a champion. Explain to me the whole process. How is that supposed to work? Prejudice at its finest, yo. Prejudice at its finest. You all selectively remember specific situations that you feel that's good for debate or argument. And you come in here talking these bogus ass narratives just because you heard them in the herd that you was hanging out on somebody's chat and y'all was all saying the same thing. Why are you not questioning why Stantionis made more money than Boots? What logical point is that? Why did you have to placate that man, bro? Why did you have to kiss Stantionis left and right butt cheek? Why? Can somebody explain why that happened? Why did Boots have to pucker up for Stantionis? Why were they puckering up? That ain't Philly. Philly don't bow down like that. Why nobody's talking about him puckering up and land a nice wet one on Stantionis left and right cheek? Somebody explain that to me. Why you ain't willing to kiss Brian Norman's ass? Why are you puckering up the Stantionis? Both of them got a belt, yo. You can't say nothing about clout chasing when you ain't willing to be the clout. You have an opportunity to be the clout. Just go in there and face the man that everybody's talking about right now. I heard Boots say this. I heard Boots said, I want to have a performance I had as Stantionis. I can't go in there and have a bad performance. Yes, you can. Yeah. It's been plenty. There's been plenty of fighters who have bad performances. And they've gotten off the canvas. They're risen off the canvas to fight another day. They have, man. They have. You just unwilling to take that risk. See, it seems like to me that Team Ennis was waiting to see. They was just waiting to see. Oh, let me check this out. I just want to see. You know how you growing up? I just want to see something. Just like Mike Garcia said, he saw something in Arrow. Oh, I see something. Hold on. I see something. Hold on. I see something. Yeah, I do. I see something. Maybe they was waiting to see something. Look, they haven't vacated the titles yet, so it's still open. It's not like just because you're verbally making an announcement, that means absolutely nothing. Just like you have people shaking hands and, grip and grin photos and stuff like that. It means nothing. He's still a 147 pounder as we speak that refused to unify. He said he wanted to do it back to back. You're lying, bro. You don't want to do it back to back because now you have open landscape, and you're talking about you're 28 when you're 27. You're talking about, oh man, the weight. You gotta have better performances than you did with Stantionis. You can't have a bad night. Yes, you can. It's called challenges, bro. Just like when y'all was rooting for Errol Spence, who been at the welterweight division forever and a day, you all was rooting that Errol was going to beat Crawford. Why are you taking the high road on this? Why are you using the exact same template that they was using for Errol Spence? Now Boots want to use the same thing. Oh, I've been in the division too long. How, yo? How you going to use that same freaking template? Errol wasn't weight drained until Crawford put them hands on him. Errol wasn't weight drained to the second round, to the opening bell of the second round. He wasn't weight drained until Crawford dropped him with a jab. Yeah, now he's weight drained. When that went fourth, fifth, sixth. Oh my God, weight drain. Now you got Ennis, trying to convince everybody that he's 28 years old, y'all. Like, I never heard a 28-year-old talk like that. I never heard somebody, man, I'm getting old, man. I'm 28. I never heard Shakur. I never heard Javante. I never heard any of these guys who are considered to be still in the younger echelon of fighters on the come up. I never heard them get on, the microphone or television in front of the mic and speak as if they're still in their 20s, but they're antiquated. I never heard T.O. say that. Only thing I heard T.O. said, his father, whatever, they've been in 135 pounds for this amount of years. That's it. This man is up here trying to convince people that he's the only black Abraham Lincoln living today. Yeah, for real, I'm Abraham Lincoln, for real. You look at for real, I got paperwork and everything. I'm Abraham Lincoln. I just came back in my black skin. He's trying to convince people he's the goddamn Abraham Lincoln of boxing, y'all. This man is trying to convince us that he all of a sudden needs to move up when he still has the opportunity to fight his biggest fight of his career, make very good money, and prove to the people that you're not a hype job. That's all I'm saying, Ennis. Prove to the people you're not a hype job, because them people are not telling you what you're supposed to hear. At one point in time, they was talking that, Ennis was going to fight BLK. And then, Bozy didn't know what was going on. He was a manager at the time. And that's not true. We're going to stay at 147 and do what we do, or whatever the case may be. I don't know all the hoopla. It's just so much information that's out there that Bozy was on record as saying they was going to campaign at 147. Now, all of a sudden, the bus pulls into the station and they got their tickets punched, ready to go up to 54. But it's almost like they sitting on the bus, but they didn't load their luggage. What you plan on doing, man? You going to 154 or not? Because all you have to do is make the announcement. Hey, I talked to my team. We're gonna spend money on a good nutritionist, and I'm gonna make 147 one more time and show the people. He ain't willing to do that. He's not willing to do it, y'all. They clout chase the shit out of Crawford, but you ain't willing to do it, Crawford. When it comes time to put in Crawford work, you ain't willing to do it, bro. You ain't willing to do it. Y'all crapped on him and said, come get your belt. And this man Crawford would have ended your career. Now people are seeing. They might not want to talk that shit with him facing Norman because Crawford about to face Canelo. But Crawford would have ended freaking Ennis's career, and y'all know that. Ennis would have been running around that ring. They would have had to damn near get an 8x8 ring. They would have had to put a tether on Ennis to make sure he ain't running out there. Oh, it's levels. Oh, wow. Oh, my God. Oh, ouch. Oh. Now I know what EJ was going through. Hey, time out. Time out. Steve Willis. I'm taking a knee, Steve Willis. I'm ducking my head out there. I got to get some water. Don't take a point, okay? Woo. God damn. Hey, Pops, you didn't tell me it was like this up here. Hey, Crawford mad about something, ain't he? You know, I mean, dude, just take the fight. Hush the naysayers, man. Silence them. Just take the fight. You can make the weight. There's nutritionists out there that's qualified to get you prepared. You just made weight earlier this year. You said you made it easy for real times 22,000. Okay. You made weight. Now all we need to do is for you to step up and have some courage to face Norman and don't drop your belts. It seems like you abandoned the mission too quickly. At least Spence stayed the mission. Spence came back, fought Danny Garcia, fought Yordenis Ugas, and then went in there against that killer. That shows he had more heart than you got, Ennis. Real talk. I'm just being honest, man. That's all I can do. Let me get to this chat. A chat. Boots. New name is Peter Pan. Man. That's wild, man. Shout out to everybody that's in the chat, man. Appreciate that Gumbo for swinging that wrench, man. Someone need to be cracked. Green, what they do, man? Brian Norman Jr., King of the South, Boots teleported to 154. Hey, I wouldn't say he teleported Green. Like I said, I think he at the station pump faking. He got the ticket in his hand. He wants some people to take some pictures. Want to get some phone. You know, he want to get some phone footage, some media footage via the phone. And guess what? We seen Boots at the bus station, man, with his 54 ticket in his hand, dog. But the wildest part about it, he kept stepping on and off the motherfucking bus, and he wouldn't load his luggage. Every time the guy came, hey, sir, you want me to load your luggage on there? No, I'm good. But you got the ticket in your hand, sir. I can go ahead and load it. I'm good. I'm 28 years old. I can load my own luggage. My back, my leg, my knee, my elbow may hurt, but I can load it. I'm just trying to see what I want to do here. He's at the station, but he won't load his luggage, y'all. He won't, man. He just talking. Hey, Green. They could talk about being in a certain space, but that doesn't mean you're actually there. They can fight now. Why talk about sparring? Yeah. No, nobody want to hear about sparring no more, BJ. For real. You know, don't nobody want to hear about that. Shout out to Mr. Gumbo, a.k.a. Hot Grease, man. We was off the mark yesterday, man. Dang. Shout out to Trick, the Oracle in the building. What did it do, Trick? I didn't see everybody coming up top. CJ on deck. What's good? Never backtracks on his statements from interviews. These content creators try interrogate him when they get him on for interviews. Truly ridiculous. Yeah, man. I mean, at the end of the day, there's too much truth that's out there that's dealing with him not wanting to fight a fighter who he said he ain't really that good. Norman really ain't that good. That seems like, some stuff you at the playground and people, we growing up, they picking on each other. Oh, man, you picking on them. Stop joning them like that. You picking on them. I mean, that's what it seems like to me. He really ain't that good. For real? No, man, he ain't really that good. But we saw the highlights on TV. Oh, you saw that? I thought y'all didn't have cable. Damn. Yeah. Oh, I think his gloves was loaded. Did you hear Timothy Bradley? Timothy said that Vada should test him. So you know what that means. If Timothy think he juicing, everybody think it. And speaking of that, I want to say something about old Timmy, like I said yesterday. It's only a word that disgraceful will bow tie it. It's only one word that will bow tie his actions. Disgraceful. Disgraceful, yo. Timothy Bradley, disgraceful for saying that shit about freaking Pez, man. Disgraceful, yo. He's talking about any other sport. In any other sport, they testing. That's what they're saying. In any other sport. So let me educate you there, Timmy. Briefly. In BJJ, steroids are pretty much legal. Okay? In BJJ grappling, there's so many fighters juicing. Do you think every fighter that's juicing are champions? No. They ain't testing for no juice. Why isn't there up in arms and chaos and outcry for BJJ? Because they simply don't care. People simply don't care to watch people on mat time grapple. Now you're talking about other sports. They should be tested. Hey, it's only up to that particular person doing something that nobody ever seen before. Testing costs money. Testing costs money. Why compare a team sport to an individual sport? And then why act like Norman has did something that's never been done before in boxing? If you wasn't saying that about other fighters who have had brutal knockouts, then why would you say it for him? It's just hating, yo. This is unfortunate. You know, when you hear that C word, cone and sambo and, tap dancing, it's just unfortunate, yo. You sound just like Omar off the Sinners. I say it all the time. Come on now. Come on now. Let me in now. And I'm going to say some effed up stuff about you now. Come on, let me in, man. I'm tired of being at the door. Now, Timmy, we can't let you in because you've been going in and out of here every day. But you decide to step out there and go to that field and talk trash about us. Something ain't right with you. They got to you, huh? Let's be honest with yourself. You dead. You dead to your own people, Timmy. That's what you are. You're dead to your own people. Now, stop that talk now. I ain't dead to my own people. You know that boy ain't been fighting like that. You know that. I just said they should maybe check his blood. Yeah, check his blood. You want me to check your blood? And by the way, you want me to leave so quick? How about you pay me my money? Anyway, let me stop, dog. Let me stop. Eddie Hearn's fighter still taking L's. Your fight got beat down by Francisco Rodriguez yesterday. Hearn still hasn't learned. Damn. People know Eddie Hearns is taking L's for the longest of time, but yet they want to stand behind him trying to convince people that, Boots is who he say he is who Eddie Hearns say he is, but yet they're just trying to build that guy up in his backyard. He's trying to build him up. He's a backyard fighter. Remember that. Boots is a backyard fighter. I told y'all Bozy gonna leap more. These funny business in the camp whole time. I honestly want to know who calling the shots. Hey, your guess is as good as mine. Shout out to the OG Bruce guys, Boxing Jazz. What's good? I don't do too bad, WCS. I'm a low budget journalist, but I have conducted over 50 interviews between the phone and video. The Oracle has spoken. Hey, talk to him, Trick. Hey, talk to him, man. Hey, journalism requires specific criteria. These are media members. Hey, remember that. These are media members that's out here, yo. Trick is doing more than these guys, man. Next, Roy Jones and Marvin Hagler, they claim. Oh my God. Why did you even have to then put that stamp out there? That's unfortunate. That's unfortunate, man. That's bad. Real bad. That's real bad, yo. But I gotta bounce, y'all. I gotta bounce. Thanks for the comments and the interaction for sure. Let me see. Thomas Hill boots for Norman isn't happening 154. That fight is dead. Remember at the Stantion's fight, he didn't even mention Norman as his next fight. Keep that in mind. For sure. For sure. I mentioned that. He was talking about he ain't good for real, for real. He ain't that good. So you didn't even mention his name, yo. You know what I'm saying? Why Norman has to go to 54? I know not what you're saying. Yeah, Thomas, if you said that, Norman don't have to go to 154 chasing that dude. Bruce said boxers today could care less about dominating their weight class. They just want the next money fight regardless of the weight class. For sure. For sure. I agree with you, OG, for real. You know, but it's good for, money is good. Okay. Money is good because boxing is a business. And just like, Trick, just like Bruce Gas, especially these dudes, they talk to fighters back in the day and the past vets. And not all of those guys are doing well financially. So I'm all about the fighters are getting paid. But when the conversation comes up on when all the chips are in play, all right. What I mean by that, all the names, the roster is there to be competitive. We have the Barrios, okay. We have the Ennis, and now we have the Norman Juniors. Not too long ago, all the titles was in each sanctioning body. It wasn't unification. Now we finally get a unification. That person bails out and don't even want to unify. A lot of people believe that Barrios will be the easier go. But the fight, the people want to see the fight that everybody want to see is Norman versus Ennis. But Ennis is selecting the other road to go up to 54, which is that much harder. I'm not going to say what he's not going to do at 154. I'm just saying it would be better for him to make weight at 147 to fight Norman, because this fight has built up enough energy, enough thunder with the lightning to precipitate a firestorm of attention from the boxing fans. And the firestorm is what we want. We want that storm. We want hail. We want all that. We want all that. And then for the fight to be outside of Philly, man, that's a big fight. That fight would do well. Oh my God. Can you imagine the face-off? The trash talk. Oh, it'll do well, man. But man, y'all hold it down. Shout out to the hottest chat in the MF and Game A-Side official. I'm out. Peace.